If I said I was using a DualShock 3 or indeed a DualShock 4 to play PlayStation and PlayStation 2 games, you would assume that I'm talking about emulation, maybe using a PC or something along those lines to emulate PlayStation and PlayStation 2 games and having these controllers linked up to that particular machine. Or indeed a backwards compatible PS3 or a custom firmware PS3 that you can use to play, again, PlayStation and PlayStation 2 games. But what if I told you that that's not the case, and that I can actually use a DualShock 3 or indeed a DualShock 4 on the real hardware to play PlayStation or PlayStation 2 games? How awesome would that be? Now, you guys know from previous videos I've done on wireless controllers for the PlayStation and PlayStation 2, I've not been successful in finding a wireless controller setup or even an adapter. But all that has just changed. Now, all I'm going to say to the game controller super converters, yes, I did say that right, where have you been for the last God knows how many years since I started getting back into retro gaming and I wanted wireless controllers for some of my older systems? Because it's one of the things that I love about modern day gaming on current gen hardware, and even things like PS3 and 360. Of course, we had wireless controllers as well for those machines. It's really nice to have that freedom and not have a wire trailing across your floor as you're playing games with a controller. This little box of tricks here allows me to sync up via Bluetooth a DualShock 3 or a DualShock 4, and you can see it's got a PlayStation connector, a PlayStation controller port connector, and I can plug that into a PS2 or an original PlayStation, and I can play games using the DualShock 3 or 4. Guys, it's absolutely awesome. It really is, and it works so well. I was using my DualShock 4 earlier on to play some Gran Turismo, and the analog sticks work exactly as they should do. There's none of the horrible dead zone that I was getting with those cheap wireless controllers I tried to use before. And also, it just worked brilliantly. The rumble functionality was there as well. The rumble felt good with the DualShock 4. Honestly, man, absolutely no trickery whatsoever. So if I show you the unit itself, you've got a couple of USB cables, because you can actually rig this up to a PC to update the firmware, but also to actually use a DualShock 3 or 4 via this adapter, essentially with your PC. You can use this as a receiver, which again is a pretty neat idea. I am aware there are other ways, including just using Bluetooth directly, that you can use a DualShock 3 and a DualShock 4 with some drivers, which is pretty cool. But yeah, literally you've got a port here. You can actually run a USB cable to either of these controllers and plug it into this. Plug that into your PlayStation or PlayStation 2, and you can run it via USB to begin with. If you press this button whilst it's connected via USB, and then press your PlayStation button on either of these two, it will actually sync the controller to this, which then means when you disconnect the USB, initially the controller is going to go off. But when you press the PlayStation button again on either of these controllers, it connects via Bluetooth to this little box of tricks, and you're then able to use these to play PlayStation games or PlayStation 2 games on the real hardware. Guys, it's awesome, and this adapter is absolutely awesome. It's made by, I think it's called BrookAccesory, so check them out, guys, if this is your kind of thing. You can see on the back of the box, it gives you an idea of how things link up, and it gives you an idea that you've got some QR codes for product info, for updating the firmware, which I've already done. That's pretty straightforward. And the user guide, which again is pretty straightforward if you're talking about using PlayStation controllers like the DualShock 3 or DualShock 4. It's absolutely awesome, guys. It really is. I cannot recommend this highly enough. And my search for using wireless controllers with the PlayStation and PlayStation 2 is officially over. So now really it's the Sega Saturn and the Sega Dreamcast, and also the original Xbox to a degree, because I really don't like the Logitech wireless controllers that came out for the original Xbox. I'd like to use something that's more akin to the original Xbox controller. So I'm not far away from having all of my retro systems with a wireless controller of some kind. Again, some kind of adapter kit would be pretty cool for something like the Sega Master System, although I could use my 8-bit-do receiver and 6-button Mega Drive controller with my Sega Master System or Master System 2 if I really wanted to. But guys, it's really awesome. I can use a wireless controller, in particular a DualShock 3 or 4 with the Sony PlayStation or Sony PlayStation 2. Thanks for watching, and I will catch you again soon.